So you're probably in this stage of self-improvement, or you just started self-improvement, and you know that you need to do the hard work, and you kind of know what you need to do, but you just can't do it for some reason. You feel like there's something holding you back. You know exactly what you need to do. You need to put the hard work in, do uncomfortable things, but for some reason you just keep on reverting back to these bad habits, and you can't get this done. And I know exactly how this feels. I had this feeling for like more than a year, and it feels like torture. You know that if you put this work in, you'll be in a better spot. It's like you're looking over a fence and you see the grass is green on the other side, and you know how to climb a fence, but for some reason you're just not climbing the fence. And so I'm going to teach you how to just get out of this rut, because it's really just a terrible place, and I know you can get out of it. It's difficult, but you for sure can. And bro, I had the ambition. Like, I felt like I just needed to unlock it somehow, and I knew exactly what I needed to do, but then I'd always just end up doing the fucking bad habits again, like just fapping, like playing video games, and just being a loser. And yeah, I did this for over a year. Like, I was just pretending like I was on self-improvement. And this is worse than just doing the instant gratification activities without knowing about self-improvement, because in this situation, you feel like you're getting teased, you know, like you feel like you're in a jail cell and you can see this beautiful like outcome in Green Hill, but you just can't get out of it. So let's just get started and I'll teach you how to get out of it. Okay, bro, the first thing you need to do is to put your ego aside. Your ego is really what gets you doing the same things over and over again, and it's just what prevents you from growing. So if you don't put your ego aside like right now, then there's really no point of watching this video, because you're not willing to learn from others and like just grow, okay? So put your ego aside right now, because whatever you've been doing right now obviously isn't working. There's a reason why you're staying in the same situation, not making any progress. So you need to put your ego aside. That's the most important step. That's really what gets everything moving. So right now, bro, whatever it is, whether you're broke or you fap 32 times a day, just admit it to yourself. Just say like, you know what, I am kind of a loser. I am kind of a dickhead. And it's my fault that I'm in this situation, but I can change it. And once you do that, then you're ready to learn, okay? And it's really simple. The reason why you're in this situation is because all these actions that you put in. You put yourself in this situation, your brain put you in this situation, and the outputs from those inputs is just this situation that you don't want to be in. And that comes to the next step, which is not listening to your brain. And this is just super simple, right? Your inputs affect your outputs. So whatever you're doing right now has affected the situation that you're in, and you're going to keep staying in it. So you can't listen to your brain, because your brain is the reason why you keep doing these actions, right? So right now, if your brain tells you to do something like, oh, this guy's bullshitting me, or I don't really feel like it, I'll just do it later, or, you know, I don't really need to meditate, or I don't really need to journal, don't listen to that, because that's what's put you in this situation. That's why you feel like shit. So just completely ignore that part of your brain, try to turn it off, and just listen to somebody else's brain. Whether that's like me or some other YouTuber, just put your brain to the side, because it's not helping you at all, and just listen to somebody else who's in the situation that you want to be in. So just tell yourself right now, like, whatever impulses that I've acted on, whatever actions that I've done, that's my brain's fault. That's that part of my brain, like, you know, that like inner thought part. Just try to ignore that. So when you have those thoughts starting to come up, just be like, no, shut the fuck up. You're stupid. And I know it sounds kind of silly, but that part of your brain is really destructive. So try to just ignore that part of your brain. So right now in your self-improvement stage, you're probably trying to just quit more bad habits than to actually start doing all these good habits, which is great, right? You know, you want to like take the bad things out of your life first. But there's usually one really big problem, and that's trying to look at quitting these bad habits as a streak. Streaks are toxic. So whether it's nofap or video games, you don't want to have like a 30-day streak or a 7-day streak, because you're just doing that for validation. And in your head, when you make a streak, 30-day nofap streak, you know you're gonna do it again. You just want to like flex your 30-day nofap streak. So don't do streaks, and I just want you to know and just be self-aware that you're probably doing that to fuel your ego, because it's kind of cool, right? And you know when you do this nofap streak or this like deleting Instagram, you know you're probably gonna download it again. You know you're probably gonna fap again. So you need to stop having this idea of having a streak, because you're not actually doing it to quit. You're just doing it for a different reason. Also, when you set streaks, you're also setting yourself to fail. If you do a 30-day nofap streak, what are you gonna do after that? you're probably gonna fap 1,000 times after that. So don't set streaks. You want to set it in a place where you're just gonna change yourself as a person. So instead of being like, I'm gonna stop fapping for 30 days, you should be like, I'm gonna become the guy that doesn't fap. So just quit the idea of a streak. You're doing it for validation. Once that streak's over, you're probably gonna relapse. That's why you do it every single time. And you're just doing it and you're not actually fully committing to it. You need to quit because you know you need to, not for validation and not because it's cool. Okay? So a better way to track your progress is just through a habit tracker. So here you just have a certain thing of habits for like the week, and you just check it down. And if you don't do it, don't check it down, right? Because you want to see those days build up where there's just like no check marks, and it's starting to get like kind of annoying, and it's kind of painful. You see this habit tracker on your wall and there's no check marks on it, and that will actually motivate you to start doing it, and you'll kind of feel disgusted with yourself. And that comes to the next thing, which is moral hygiene. So moral hygiene is just having standards for yourself. It's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna feel like horrible about myself if I don't take a shower every day. You could do the same thing with your habits. So you could be like, okay, if I don't get a certain amount of these things ticked on my habit tracker, I'm gonna feel like a loser. So just have some sort of moral hygiene and standards for yourself, because the reason why you're probably like in this situation is because you don't have standards for yourself. You don't respect yourself enough, and you need to have some certain respect for yourself. And that's probably why you let yourself fap and play a bunch of video games, because you don't respect yourself quite enough. Chances are that you try to quit your bad habits in some sort of monumental manner. Like you make it a big deal. And this just goes back to the ego. Like you're gonna delete Instagram, you're gonna like throw all your junk food away, you're gonna throw your Xbox away, whatever it is. The reason why this doesn't work is because you're not curing this addiction. You're just like putting it to the side. It's a band-aid approach. So me deleting Instagram, like, yeah, oh, I deleted Instagram, that's so cool. That's not gonna like, there's nothing cool about that actually, because you're not curing your Instagram addiction. You're just like hiding it away from you. You're hiding from this addiction. A truly cured addiction is if you can be right in front of this thing and not act on it. So if you're like, oh, I'm gonna quit Instagram, I'm gonna quit social media, and you just delete this or you throw your Xbox away, that's not gonna work. You need to know how to just control yourself when it's there. So what I recommend is you just build your willpower up, and you're building it up like a muscle. So if you bench press every day, you're gonna get stronger. You could do the same with your willpower. So what I recommend doing is if you're like addicted to chocolates or something, you just like look at the chocolate and just try not to get yourself to eat it. And maybe you only last like 1 hour this day, but the next day you'll probably do 2 hours, and you'll slowly build it up. And trust me, this really works. This is like super weird, but I used to be like severely addicted to porn. So what I did is I just had my phone on my desk, and I just like I just had it like paused, and I was just like staring at it, just like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. I know it seems super weird, but I did this for a couple of days, and it actually like, it built my willpower up so much to a crazy amount. So it sounds really weird, but just try to think of it like the gym and like getting certain gains. The second thing we can do to like help quit addictions, I call it just going to a deeper low. So there's a reason why you have these addictions, and it's because you're trying to avoid something. You're trying to mask up some sort of trauma or some just like uncomfortable feeling. You know, like when I was making zero money at all, I would just try to cope with it and just block out of my head by just focusing on something else. But the thing is, there's a reason why you feel uncomfortable with this feeling. It's because there's something that isn't resolved. So what you need to do is just face that feeling head on first. So if you're starting to feel a little bit down, do not start fapping or drinking alcohol or whatever it is. Just face that feeling and just face it one-on-one and just see how it feels. And yeah, it'll feel kind of painful, but you're breaking that cycle of masking up these bad feelings. And that's the first step you need to take, is just to face this feeling that you've never explored and just face it on one-on-one, because you need to do it at some point. You know, you need to stop just masking it up with drugs and whatever, and you just need to face it on. Basically, you're just masking up this feeling that you've been avoiding all along. So you need to break that cycle and just accept the fact that you're gonna feel kind of bad and just face it on. So let's say like I realize that I got 0 girls. So what I do is I just start fapping a bunch because that's like the alternative, right? There's a reason why I feel bad about that, and instead of masking it up by just fapping, I need to realize that feeling uncomfortable is good, and I need to feel that feeling of being uncomfortable and just face it on for a while, and then I'll realize, okay, from this feeling, that means I probably need to just talk to more women or like improve myself to become more attractive to women. So it could be pretty much the same with everything. So right now, stop trying to avoid this feeling and just face it on. And that'll make you stronger. And every time you do this, you'll build up a slightly bigger resistance to this bad feeling. And then you won't need this substance as much because you realize that you're okay without it. So really the reason why you're stuck in a rut in self-improvement is because your mental health probably sucks and your habits probably suck. So all these things really keep you from doing the productive things, right? Before you do all these fancy like productive like tips and like businesses and like all these things, you need to just like get the bad things out of your life first because those waste the most time. So we're really prioritizing just quitting our bad habits. And I want you to understand that addictions and bad habits aren't the problem. They're actually a symptom of the real problem, which is poor mental health. If you think about it, when your mental health is bad, the side effects of that are bad habits because you're trying to mask it, right? If you're super depressed, like obviously you're gonna probably drink more, play more video games, fat more, eat more junk food because you're trying to make it up through like easy dopamines, right? So the main message to this video is that you just need to improve your mental health, and then a lot of your bad habits will resolve from that. So some simple things to improve mental health, in my opinion, is just being more like grateful for things. So right now, like I'm just kind of grateful that it's like a nice day, and yeah, there's a lot of just nice plants around me. Just something basic that'll make you just be less caught up in a bunch of negativity. I also recommend meditating at least like 10 minutes a day and exercising regularly. Those are some really basic ones. I don't want to go into a huge rant, but pretty much just prioritize your mental health, and then the side effects, which are addictions and bad habits, will clear up from that. And then once you get rid of those bad habits and addictions, then it's much easier to start doing the productive tasks. So pretty much, if you want to be productive, you need to improve your mental health first. If you want to start a business, you really should just improve your mental health first so you can save a lot of time. So that's pretty much it, bro. I think you should subscribe because I want to create a community of Chads who want to become the best versions of themselves. And I'm not talking about like a paid community, just a YouTube channel where we can all just like help each other rise up and become awesome. So that's pretty much it. Subscribe so self-improvement won't be as lonely. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.